Listen to me, every man wants to win. Win in business, win in relationships, win in life. But here's the hard truth. Most men are losing, not because they don't have talent, not because they don't have opportunity, but because they don't know the only secret that changes everything. And once you understand this, you become unstoppable. Listen, the battle of life is not out there. It's not with your boss, not with your partner, not with the economy. The greatest battle every man must fight happens right here, inside his own mind and heart. If you don't master your inner world, nothing in your outer world will ever change. You can get the promotion, you can buy the car, you can win the girl, but if you're carrying self-doubt, insecurity, and fear, then no matter what you achieve, it will never feel like enough. You'll sabotage it. Why? Because your internal thermostat is set too low. Here's the truth: life doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you are. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who seemed to have everything on paper, but deep down you could feel they were broken, insecure, or disconnected? That's because success without self-mastery is an empty victory. And the opposite is also true. You've seen men who might not have the biggest bank account, but they radiate certainty, energy, and power. They walk into a room and people feel it. Why? Because they've mastered themselves first. So how do you master your inner world? Raise your standards of thought. Stop feeding your mind with garbage, complaints, fears, excuses. Feed it with clarity, purpose, and vision. Every day, decide what you want to focus on, because where focus goes, energy flows. Train your emotional state. Emotions are like muscles. You don't just feel confident randomly. You condition confidence. You create certainty through daily rituals. Move your body. Breathe with power. Use your voice. When you master your state, you control your destiny. Rewrite your beliefs. Most men are carrying around limiting beliefs they picked up as kids. I'm not enough. I'll never succeed. I don't deserve love. If you don't destroy those lies, they will destroy you. Replace them with empowering beliefs. I am enough. I create my future. I attract love by being love. Commit to growth every day. Progress equals happiness. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep moving forward. Read, train, meditate, learn a new skill. A man who grows daily never loses. Here's what I want you to remember. If you conquer the world, but you never conquer yourself, you lose. But if you master yourself, your thoughts, your emotions, your energy, then no matter what's happening outside, you win. Because life doesn't happen to you, life happens for you. And the man who masters his inner world will always find a way to create the outer world he desires. So raise your standard today. Take control of your mind, your body, and your emotions. Decide right now, I am the master of my world. And once you do that, nothing and no one can stop you. Let me tell you something powerful. Chasing is weakness. Becoming is power. Too many men spend their lives chasing money, chasing women, chasing validation. They run after the next car, the next title, the next approval, thinking when I finally get it, then I'll feel enough. But the brutal truth is this: chasing never ends. Because the more you chase, the more you reinforce the belief that you don't already have value. Think about it. If you're chasing love, what are you really saying? That love is out there and you're incomplete without it. If you're chasing money, what are you really saying? That you're not valuable until your bank account proves it. If you're chasing status, you're admitting to yourself that who you are right now isn't good enough. That's a trap. That's slavery. The secret is this: stop chasing and start becoming. Because when you become the man who radiates confidence, certainty, passion, and purpose, opportunities come to you, people come to you, love comes to you. Why? Because the world is magnetized to strength, not neediness. Look around. The men you admire most, the ones who command respect, are not running after things. They are building themselves. They're focused on growth, on purpose, on living their truth. And because of that, people chase them. So how do you shift from chasing to becoming? Redefine success. Success is not out there. It's not in someone else's approval. Success is who you become in the process. When you focus on growth over validation, you win regardless of the outcome. Shift from neediness to abundance. Neediness repels. Abundance attracts. When you know you bring value, when you stand in certainty, you don't need to beg for attention or love. You embody it, and it comes to you naturally. Commit to building skills and strength. Stop scrolling, stop comparing, stop waiting. Instead, read the book, hit the gym, build the business, practice your craft. Build yourself into a man of substance, because value attracts value. Detach from outcome. When you stop attaching your worth to whether or not she texts you back, whether or not you get the promotion, you gain freedom. The man who doesn't need anything is the man who can create everything. Listen, women don't fall in love with a man who begs. They fall in love with a man who leads. Opportunities don't knock for the desperate, they open for the prepared. So stop chasing scraps of validation. Stop running after people who don't see your worth. Instead, become the man who is so certain, so grounded, so committed to growth, that everything you want gravitates toward you. Because here's the truth: chasing will exhaust you. But becoming will transform you into a magnet for success and love. So ask yourself right now, am I chasing or am I becoming? The day you choose becoming is the day the world begins chasing you. Let me hit you with something real. Nobody falls in love with your bank account. Nobody respects you for your car. Nobody follows you because of your watch. People are drawn to your presence. No, Don't get me wrong, there's nothing bad about having nice things. Success, money, luxury, those can be beautiful rewards. But here's the truth, possessions alone do not create power. Because what happens when the car breaks down, when the money dries up, when the title is taken away? If your identity is built on possessions, then your power vanishes the moment those possessions are gone. But presence can't be taken away. Presence is when you walk into a room and people feel you before you even speak. It's the certainty in your body language, the confidence in your voice, the energy in your eyes. It's when you're so grounded in who you are, so certain of your value, that people lean in without even knowing why. Presence is magnetic. Possessions are temporary. So how do you build presence? Ground yourself in certainty. Stop looking outside for approval. Certainty begins inside. Decide who you are. Own it. Stand tall, breathe deeply, move with purpose. When you know who you are, the world feels it. Master the power of attention. Presence means being fully in the moment. When you're with someone, be there. Put down the phone, look them in the eyes. Listen like their words matter, because they do. Nothing is more powerful than giving someone your full presence. Radiate energy, not ego. True presence isn't loud arrogance. It's quiet confidence. It's energy that uplifts, not energy that drains. People don't remember what you said as much as how you made them feel. Presence is about leaving people better than you found them. Lead with authenticity. You don't need to fake, flex, or impress. Real presence comes from congruence. Your words, your actions, your energy all align with who you truly are. That's why people trust authentic men more than flashy ones. Here's the hard truth. Too many men hide behind possessions because they don't know how to show up with presence. They polish the outside, but the inside is empty, and eventually people can feel that emptiness. But when you cultivate presence, you don't need to prove yourself with things. You don't need to buy respect. You command it. You don't need to beg for attention. You attract it. You don't need to chase love. You create it, because presence says, I am enough. I am here. I am powerful. So stop obsessing over what you own and start focusing on how you show up. Because in the end, people won't remember your car or your suit. They'll remember how you made them feel in your presence. And that, my friend, is a power no possession can ever replace. Every man was born for a reason. And if you don't know yours, you're drifting. You're living somebody else's script. And nothing kills a man faster than drifting through life without a mission. Listen to me, money is great, love is beautiful, but without a mission, you'll always feel empty. Why? Because at the core of every man is the desire to build, to lead, to create something bigger than himself. Without that, you're just existing, and existing is not living. Mission is what gives meaning to your struggles. Mission is what gets you out of bed when you don't feel like moving. Mission is what makes you strong when life tries to break you. A man with a mission cannot be stopped because his purpose is bigger than his pain. So here's the hard truth. If you don't own your mission, distractions will own you. You'll scroll, bing, waste your days chasing temporary highs instead of building the life you were born for. But when you know your mission, you move differently. You speak differently. You live differently. So how do you own your mission? Get clarity on what you stand for. Ask yourself, what do I value most? What am I willing to fight for? What impact do I want to leave on this world? Your mission starts where your deepest values meet the needs of others. Stop living for approval. Too many men let their parents, friends, or society tell them who they should be. You'll never own your mission if you're living someone else's expectations. Your mission is yours. Own it unapologetically. Turn pain into purpose. The struggles you've been through, the setbacks you've faced, they weren't accidents, they were training. Everyone can become wisdom. Every struggle can become fuel. Use your pain as the fire that drives your purpose. Commit with everything you've got. Mission is not a hobby. It's not something you do when it's convenient. A mission is a commitment, a decision that no matter what happens, you keep moving. Rain, storms, setbacks, rejection. It doesn't matter. The mission doesn't stop. Here's the truth. Women are drawn to men on a mission. Leaders are respected because of their mission. The world follows those who have a fire inside that cannot be extinguished. So don't the perfect plan. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for everything to line up. Decide today, this is my mission. This is what I will give my life to. Because the man who owns his mission is unstoppable. He doesn't beg for respect. He commands it. He doesn't chase love. It finds him. He doesn't fear failure because failure simply becomes fuel for his fire. Own your mission. Live it. Breathe it. Become it. And when you do, you won't just win. You'll change the world. Listen, your life right now is the direct reflection of the standards you've accepted, not the goals you've set, not the dreams you've talked about, the standards you live by every single day. Here's the truth. Every man gets what he tolerates. If you tolerate average energy, you'll live an average life. If you tolerate toxic relationships, you'll keep repeating them. If you tolerate excuses, you'll stay stuck where you are. But the moment you raise your standards, the moment you say, this is no longer acceptable in my life, everything changes. Success isn't about getting lucky. Success is about deciding what you will no longer tolerate. It's about drawing a line in the sand and saying, from now on, this is who I am. This is how I show up. This is what I demand of myself every day, because here's the difference. A man with low standards says, I'll go to the gym if I feel like it. A man with high standards says, I train because it's who I am. A man with low standards says, I'll work hard when I'm motivated. A man with high standards says, I execute whether I feel like it or not. See the difference? Standards shape your identity, and identity shapes your destiny. So how do you raise your standards daily? Decide what's no longer acceptable. Stop negotiating with weakness. Stop saying someday. Decide right now what habits, thoughts, and behaviors must die for the next version of you to live. Create habits that match your vision. Don't just set goals, build rituals. If your vision is to be strong, then your daily standard is training. If your vision is to be wealthy, then your daily standard is discipline with money. Consistency turns standards into reality. Surround yourself with higher standards. Who you spend time with is who you become. If you're surrounded by complainers, you'll lower your standards without realizing it. If you're surrounded by winners, you'll rise to match their level. Refuse excuses. Excuses are comfortable lies that keep you small. A man who raises his standards doesn't excuse weakness. He kills it. He finds a way no matter what. Raise them again and again. Here's the beauty. Once you hit a level, that becomes your new baseline. Then you raise it again. Growth never stops. Winners are always asking, what's my next level? Here's the truth. The difference between men who live average lives and men who create extraordinary lives isn't talent. It's standards. So decide today, what's your new standard? What will you no longer tolerate? Who will you no longer be? Because when you raise your standards, you raise your life. And the man who refuses to settle becomes unstoppable. Let me tell you something that will transform your relationships forever. Neediness kills love, but strength ignites it. Too many men go into relationships thinking love is about getting approval, getting validation, getting attention. But love is not about taking, it's about giving. And the moment you approach love from neediness, you push it away. Have you ever noticed this? The more a man clings, begs, or tries to prove his worth, the faster attraction fades. Why? Because neediness screams weakness. It says, I don't believe I'm enough, so I need you to complete me. But no woman and no partner wants to carry that weight. On the other hand, when you love from strength, when you come into a relationship whole, grounded and certain, you create something magnetic. You're not loving because you need. You're loving because you choose. That's the difference. So how do you love with strength? Be whole before you enter love. Don't expect someone else to fill your emptiness. Build yourself first. When you're already fulfilled, you don't need love, you enhance it. You bring joy, passion, and certainty instead of draining energy. Lead with presence, not possession. Strength and love means showing up fully, looking her in the eyes, listening, being there without distraction. Love is not controlling, it's creating safety through presence. Set boundaries out of self-respect. Weak men avoid boundaries because they fear rejection. Strong men set them because they respect themselves. Love with strength means you don't lose yourself to please someone else. Give without keeping score. Neediness says, I'll give, but only if you give back. Strength says, I give because that's who I am. Love from strength is generous, not transactional. Stand grounded in your mission. When a man loses himself in a relationship, he becomes needy. But when he stays grounded in his purpose, his partner feels safe and inspired. Strength and love means never abandoning your mission for approval. Here's the truth. Women are not attracted to men who need them. They're attracted to men who choose them from a place of strength. The man who says, I am complete, I am grounded, I am certain, and I choose to share my life with you, is the man who creates lasting love. Love with strength creates freedom. It creates passion. It creates trust, because both people know they are there by choice, not by fear. So remember this: neediness repels, but strength attracts. Neediness drains, but strength fuels. Neediness begs, but strength creates. Don't come to love empty-handed, hoping to be filled. Come full, overflowing, and ready to give. That's how you love with strength, not neediness. And when you do, you won't just have a relationship. You'll build a bond that can't be broken. Listen to me. The single greatest shift you can make in your life is to stop waiting for permission and start making powerful decisions. Because the truth is this: your destiny changes the moment you decide. Most men waste years, sometimes decades, waiting for the perfect moment, waiting until they feel ready, waiting for someone to validate them, approve of them, or give them the green light. But let me tell you the truth, that permission is never coming. If you're waiting for life to hand you the crown, you'll die waiting. Life rewards the man who decides. Think about it. The strongest leaders in history weren't the ones who had everything figured out before they acted. They were the ones who made a decision, committed to it, and adjusted along the way. Decision creates movement, and movement creates momentum. So why do most men hesitate? Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough. But here's the paradox. Indecision is the very thing that guarantees failure. Because when you hesitate, you hand your power to someone else. When you wait, the world moves on without you. Power isn't found in endless planning. Power is found in the moment you decide. So how do you step into decision? Kill the someday mindset. Stop saying I'll start when or I'll do it someday. There is no someday. There is only now. Decision means acting today, not waiting for perfect conditions. Understand that clarity comes from action. Most men wait until they feel 100% certain before acting. But certainty doesn't come first. Action comes first. You decide, you move, and clarity shows up in the process. Detach from permission. You don't need your parents, your friends, or society to approve your path. Stop asking, what will they think? Start asking, what will I think if I don't act? Stand by your choices. Real power comes from owning your decisions. Even if you fail, failure becomes feedback. But indecision, that's regret. And regret is poison. Make decision a habit, small or big. Train yourself to decide quickly and powerfully. Leaders aren't men who always get it right. They're men who decide, learn, and keep moving forward. Here's the truth: a man who waits for permission lives life on his knees. But a man who decides boldly, powerfully, creates a life on his terms. Decision is where power lives. Decision is where freedom begins. Decision is where destiny changes. So stop waiting. Stop hesitating. Stop asking for permission. Decide who you are. Decide what you want. Decide how you will live. Because the man who decides doesn't beg for power. He becomes power. And when you start living from decision, not permission, you don't just play the game of life. You win it.